All right, what's going on, Insane Gamers? As always, your boy Yo Soy, ACWeezy, joined with the man, goddamn. Today, we got another installation of the No Look podcast on Insane Games TV. Getting his daily flexes in there.
Almost couldn't get it back down my shirt.
Man, are you like officially a medium now? Is there any other?
Uh,
You give yourself your arms any room to breathe? Or are they just
Honestly,
being choked all day?
yes, if I could wear small always, I will. Sometimes they don't fit though. It's because like when you go to a medium, you then have to think about the length of the shirt.
Right.
And because my body is so short, I then am like wearing almost like a mini skirt.
Well, we're not what is it, Scottish, where they wear the kilts over there, so we won't be wearing any skirts. And today we're not going to be talking about biceps too much. We're going to be getting into a little NFL playoffs, some NBA, right? We got the James Harden trade. He's playing for the Brooklyn Nets now. We got some other stuff along the way, but
Oh, there is one
first
thing
and foremost, I wanted to.
before we get into it.
What's that?
Happy MLK Day.
Happy MLK Day. Very true. I think the Knicks won, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
The Knicks win every day because they're still allowed to be in the NBA.
Hey, hold on. I know I got an update from Bleacher Report. Fuck, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Knicks defense steals wins. They beat the Magic 91-84. So, Tyler, as I was saying, I'm just going to kick it to you real quick. The previous podcast, they had some stuff to say about you. I'm not sure if you had any rebuttal for that, if you wanted to speak your piece, kind of defend yourself. What do you got for that?
I mean, they were talking a lot of ish, if you will. As a Las Vegas Raider fan, not an Oakland Raider fan, as it was prescribed numerous times that I was an Oakland Raider fan. As a Las Vegas Raiders fan,
No longer in Oakland, Dan.
no longer in Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders fan. When you probably don't know this because you're a Packers fan. They've been in the playoffs for God knows how many years in a row.
Well, 3 years ago they missed it, but yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me throw this to you. When the Packers missed the playoffs,
Yeah.
did you root for a team to win that year?
Probably some more so than others. I mean, I most likely the Patriots were in the playoffs, so I was probably just rooting against them from
Right.
the standpoint that I didn't want to see them win year in, year out. Other than that, I mean, I definitely, if I'm not rooting for the Packers, I have players that I like, so maybe I would root for those teams,
Right.
just to see the players get a Super Bowl win or whatnot.
Okay, so if you lived in you like DK Metcalf, favorite player besides
Yeah.
Devontae Adams, of course. So let's say you lived in Seattle, okay?
Yep.
Would you perhaps root for them a little bit harder because you feel the hometown feel and the excitement of the buzz around that team?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'd go out and buy any memorabilia or something of that nature, but I might say post an Instagram story supporting that team or a player.
So if DK Metcalf said, on to insert stadium here,
Mhm.
you would repost it and say, let's go, man. Like I'm rooting for you because I'm, living in the city that you're representing and I feel for it.
Yeah. Now, I guess I can't remember too vividly, but was there any like text on the repost of the story, or did you just simply repost it? Like, did you just
Oh,
say "Let's go Bucks," or was it just like you were kind of sharing the message?
I put LFG because that's what Tom Brady always puts.
Right, but there wasn't any like Buck, Tampa Bay Buck
Hashtag
emojis,
Buck for life,
logos, or anything
hashtag,
of that nature.
Tampa Homer. No, it was just
Yeah.
LFG. Like I'm rooting for you. I would love. For me, it's not so much Tom Brady. I do love his inspirational Instagram posts. I must say, he always. I mean, I don't know if you saw the one today. Did you see it?
No, I don't follow him, and I didn't see any reposts. So,
Okay, can I play it?
I think so. Yeah, if it's just an Instagram video, shouldn't
Well,
be.
it's gonna play music after. I kind of want you to hear the music.
If it's a short music clip, we don't want to get DMCA'd on the Insane Games TV channel. So, I
All
think
right.
under 30 seconds will be all right.
All right.
High fives for everybody. Let's go.
It's 50.
When I heard 50 Cent, that album specifically,
mm.
he always plays Dre, he always plays Nas, it just gets me hyped, I'm not just a Brady fan. this season. I'm rooting for Godwin, former Penn State great.
Mhm.
Rooting for Devin White, who balled out. We'll get into that later. But more importantly, I'm rooting for Tampa to get into the Super Bowl because no team that's ever hosted the
Mhm.
Super Bowl has been in that Super Bowl. And I think that'd be crazy, especially living in Tampa, living 10 minutes away from the
I was
stadium.
gonna say you're not even just rooting for them to like win because from a fan standpoint, you're rooting for a fucking party.
Yeah.
Right? If the Bucks go to the Super Bowl, Tyler is gonna be partying sun up to sundown for a week
Hell
straight
yeah.
at least.
Tom's Venus, you'll see me there. 2001 Odyssey, you'll see me there. I might be partying with Antonio Brown, former Raider great. Oh, wait. Didn't even suit up for the Raiders. I forgot about that. They said that he backstabbed the Raiders, but he never even played. Tom Brady, he kind of the Tuck rule. We've always talked about that. And John
Mhm.
Gruden. John Gruden got traded, by the way.
Oh, we lost him. Oh,
Al
he's
Davis
back.
just straight up Al Davis just straight up traded John Gruden. So it wasn't really even Gruden's fault. Gruden's always been a Raider lover.
Yeah.
So do you think that's fair for me? That's valid for me to root for the Bucks?
No, I'd say it's extremely valid. I mean, Tyler, I didn't think you needed to defend yourself except from the standpoint that your name was getting dragged in the mud. So, you
Yeah.
know, you can't let your character be tarnished like that. But with that being said, we will.
Let me end with this because
Yeah.
this was on my mind the whole entire time Dan was speaking. It's funny a guy can drag your name through the mud about favorite NFL teams when he doesn't even have a favorite NFL team.
Mm.
So
Do we need to get Dan like one of the referee hats like Rob Lowe the one year who just wants to see a good, fair game?
yeah, essentially we'll just buy him a zebra striped NFL hat and he can be an NFL enthusiast.
We might have to make the white part of the stripes neon yellow because he seems to like that color. I see him wearing that a lot recently. But all right, so you good? You spoke
better.
your
I got
mind,
it off
right?
my
You got it
chest.
off your chest. All right. So yes, as Tyler stated, the Bucks did win. He's rooting for them. There were some other games, Tyler. I think we said we're going to go in order of which they were played. Starting off with the Packers versus the Rams. I watched the first half of this game in the Insane Games headquarters, right? We just finished up with the pickleball
9,000
tournament.
square feet.
Not that 9,000 square feet. Johnny just put the new bar down. We had the flat screens going back there.
Do you have any brewskis going back there, or is that you can't say that in public?
I didn't want to touch Tom's stash, all right? I was trying to be a good guest. And I also just got done running up and down the pickleball court for about 3.5 hours, so I need to stay hydrated. So I was just crushing the water. I took a couple Gatorades, I think. But Tyler, I mean, 3-3 in the first quarter, 16-7 second quarter, 6-8, and then 7-0 in the fourth quarter. The score might indicate it was a close game, but I don't think it was ever really that close. A funny stat, I saw Packers have scored, which I don't even know if this is all time. It didn't really specify, but it said Packers have like 200 something points in the second quarter. It might be for this season. It was like most points scored in a quarter all time. So they got 16 points here, which, kind of kept it consistent with that theme, which was the highest they scored out of any of the quarters. You could tell Jared Goff wasn't himself. Obviously, Aaron Donald, clearly not himself. But I'd say give credit to the Packers line. Obviously, they lost the number one left tackle in the NFL. They moved Bill Turner over from right tackle to left tackle. He did a pretty good job. Elton Jenkins, obviously not on 100% Aaron Donald. I think he did a pretty good job. The run game looks strong. I mean, Aaron Jones, 14 for 99. Jamal Williams, 12 for 65. A.J. Dillon, 6 for 27. Rodgers.
Not a great game by
Not
A.J.
a
Dillon.
phenomenal game. Not A.J. Dillon, I mean, what was his average? 4.5. So that's about on par with, the NFL average. Aaron Jones, 7.1. But Rodgers, I think he was right on, honestly, Tyler, with whatever Vegas set his over under at. Might have been 270, but he had 296, 2 touchdowns. I don't know. They look good. Obviously, they'll get the Bucks next week, which you and I have been, kind of predicting since Brady
March.
announced he was going there in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've talked enough. Packers win NFC Championship game in Lambeau. What'd you have to say about that game?
No, I thought it was a good game by the Packers. I don't, like you said, I don't think the score really indicated how dominant they were on both sides of the ball. I think for the Rams, if I could defend them a little bit, you could tell that the injuries were catching up to them. I mean, the Packers are good. They were going to probably win that game regardless of the Rams were healthy or not. Um, I posed the question. I mean, we'll probably talk about this later.
Yeah.
Do the Rams go after Deshaun Watson and everything that they can possibly offer for him? Because I say this, Jared Goff, I know they led them to the Super Bowl that one year. I think their defense was a little bit better. Even their offense was a little bit better that year. But I just don't think he's it. I don't think he's that quarterback that's going to do it for them. I think he's a quarterback that's going to get you to the playoffs every year, kind of like a Phillip Rivers, a quarterback that's going to get you to the playoffs every year,
Yeah.
but never really take you to that next level.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think you make a phone call. I don't know that you pursue it too much. You've already dumped a lot of, time and money into Jared Goff. I'm not even sure what his contract is structured like, how long he'll be under contract for. So I don't know. Obviously he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. You make that call, you kind of express some interest, but I don't think you really go and pursue him too heavily.
The last thing I'll say about that game was I was very impressed with how the Packers defense played. It seemed that the Rams could really not get anything going, regardless of not having Cooper Kupp. I feel like the Packers defense really asserted its dominance more than the Packers offense did.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, anytime you got Aaron Rodgers on the team, you're always going to be talking about the offense. But with that being said, the Packers, I think they've had a top 10 defense all year. The rush defense been a little shaky, but I'm looking at it here. Cam Akers had 90 yards rushing. Goff had 6, so they held them to under 100 yards total, which I'd say is pretty good. The next game that we had, Tyler, I don't know. I'll let you kick this one off. I was expecting a little bit more. Whoever bet the under, aka our good friend Dan, was very happy to see this final score of 20 combined points. But just pretty sloppy game. What'd you have to think about this game?
Well, as predicted, I knew the Bills defense was going to shut down Lamar Jackson. I think the Ravens, this is a prime example of the Ravens needing to address their offensive weapons. It's just the fact that Lamar Jackson doesn't have anybody to throw to outside of Mark Andrews. I mean, you can't go to Mark Andrews every single play, regardless of how good he is. It just showed how dominant the Bills' defense secondary is. They were getting to Lamar Jackson all game, and I mean also Bills' weather. The Ravens weren't ready for it. The wind played a factor on the greatest kicker of all time, perhaps. Justin Tucker missing 2 field goals. That was key. But I think the Bills, offensively, they weren't there. Stephon Diggs, 106 yards out of 206 passing yards that Josh Allen threw, really showing his dominance. Probably going to be, the reason that the Bills beat the Chiefs this week. If they can get Stephon Diggs the ball, but I think if I'm a Bills fan, I really need to see more out of the Bills offense.
So not to cut you off, but let me just get your opinion on this. Like you said, Josh Allen, 206 passing yards and a TD. 106 of those yards and the touchdown went to Stephon Diggs. Other than that, we had John Brown with 62, 8 receptions. After that, Dawson Knox, 2 catches for 18 yards. In addition, Devin Singletary, 25 yards rush. TJ Yeldon, 4 yards rushing. Josh Allen, 3 yards rushing. Their whole offense is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. Do you think they're too one-dimensional to where a team like the Chiefs, who obviously have good experience, do you think it's too easy to shut them down if they just take Diggs and Allen out of the game?
I mean, yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying is that you need to get more out of the Bills' offense. I think their offense has the weapons. Cole Beasley, I think he was playing injured though. Dawson Knox is no joke. I mean, he's a good player, but their run game they need to establish, maybe establish it early. But the Chiefs are a good team. You know, they're Super Bowl winners, obviously. Andy Reid is not going to let Stephon Diggs be the only target. You know, he's going to make those
Hmm.
other guys work. He's going to key in on Diggs and, you know, make you beat him with someone else. Josh Allen's really going to have to step up. He's going to have to either run the ball or get Beasley Brown or Knox open. And, you know, their run game's just gotta really step up. They did sign Devontae Freeman. So
Hmm.
now to replace Zach Moss, who got hurt, I believe. They
Hmm.
got Devontae Freeman, who played well with the Giants. I think the only way they beat the Chiefs is establishing the run game, and when you do that, that's when your pass game long gets open, as you
Yep.
know.
Yeah, no. I mean, you and I used to have that little quarterback and receiver tandem going on back in the day. But as you said, the Chiefs did win. Excuse me, a closer affair than many people expected. 22-17, Tyler. You said the Chiefs will win if they can slow down Josh Allen. But there's another big question mark that we're not talking about. Pat Mahomes went down in that game. He's in the concussion protocol. Says he might have tweaked a nerve. So that's a big question mark. I mean, if I don't, obviously
You're not winning with Chad Henne.
yeah, they're a pretty well-rounded team, right? They got a lot of weapons. The defense is good, but you're not winning a AFC Championship game with Chad Henne. I'll tell you that right now.
Especially
So
against one of the best defenses in the league.
yeah, I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's been pretty good rushing the ball all year long, but if they're stacking the box, him and Le'Veon, they're going to be, sent to the wolves at that point. But, I mean, Baker, 23 for 37, 204 yards, touchdown and an interception. Nick Chubb, he only had 69 yards. Nice, but not good enough. Kareem Hunt, 32 yards. They just didn't get anything going, which is, I don't know. You saw them come out and score 28 points in a quarter against a Pittsburgh defense that we all thought was pretty good. Just never got the ball rolling. The Chiefs, Mahomes, before he got hurt, 255 and a touchdown. Darrell Williams, who is Helaire hurt? Did I miss that? Darrell Williams looks like he got most of the carries, 13 for 78. Mahomes did rush one. I guess I didn't.
He rushed it like 2 yards out. It was one of the first touchdowns of the game.
Yeah. So we got, Hill and Kelsey both with 100 yards. Kelsey did get a touchdown. Hardman.
Hardman was playing really well. They were finding Hardman a lot.
If Mahomes does play, what do the Bills do? Like, what's their weak spot? I don't really see any chinks in the armor.
Yeah, well, what the Browns didn't do, and that was pass the ball deep. And I think the Bills are very good at that with Stephon Diggs. The Browns, I was very disappointed because as soon as Patrick Mahomes went down, there was obviously a whole change in like the feng shui of the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Browns were attacking Henne. They forced that interception, but then they get the ball back on offense, and they're trying to establish a run, which I get. Nick Chubb's a great runner, but they were throwing a lot of slant passes, a lot of ins, a lot of buttons, 5-yard passes. They weren't attacking down the field. They weren't doing anything that was out of the ordinary. They shot themselves in the foot. They lost that game. The Chiefs should have lost that game on paper. The Browns should have beat them, but the play calling was whoever is the offensive coordinator, you need to look that guy in the face and say, what the hell were you calling? Because that ain't it, Chief. No pun intended.
There you go. Nice little joke there, T. So Kevin Stefanski, right? Does he call the plays?
I think he's just the head coach.
Okay, because obviously he wasn't on the sideline against Pittsburgh, and
right.
the Browns' offense flourished. Right, they had a great game.
The defense flourished even more.
Yeah,
again, with the 4 turnovers in the first half by the Steelers.
Yeah, I guess kind of just they stood with that momentum. So you don't know if he being on the sideline for this one has any part of it, or you just say it was the Chiefs and move on with it.
Kudos to the Browns. This is opposite of what the Browns are used to, getting this far in the playoffs. I think they have the pieces. Maybe get rid of Odell Beckham, find another weapon, elsewhere that you're lacking upon. They have the best offensive line in the league. They have the best running team in the league.
Yep. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think OBJ suits up for the Browns next year, or is he somewhere else?
I mean, if I'm the Browns, I'm shopping him.
Mm.
I see how well the Browns played without him. You have the two-headed beast in Chubb and Hunt. Man, I don't really need OBJ. I have Jarvis Landry who's playing well. I have Austin Hooper played really well.
Yeah, he had a
He
couple
balled
good
out.
catches.
Yeah. And then they have
Njoku might have been, had the best game all season. I'm not sure if he was just auditioning,
yeah
for the rest
free
of
agency.
NFL. Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, he finally woke up, which he's as talented as Hooper, and then you got Rashad Higgins who played really well, which brings me if Rashad Higgins didn't fumble the ball out of the end zone, that game would have been a whole different ball game.
that was a tough play to watch. Just wanting a good close game. I mean,
That's my
hindsight's
least favorite.
2020. Yeah,
That's my least.
I don't like that one at all. It just he's try. At first, I saw it and I'm like, oh wait, that's the Des Bryant rule, right? But then I'm like, oh wait, Des Bryant, he went to the ground. They ruled it incomplete. This one, they said he did have possession, made a football move, reached out over, to try to score. The Chiefs defender knocked it out of the back of the end zone, which resulted in it being a touchback, and Chiefs retained possession of the ball. That was tough, yeah. I mean, he was making a football play. You can't look back and be like, oh, I should have gone to the ground, right? Because you never know.
Of course not. You're always going for the score.
Yeah. So the last game of the weekend, Tyler, I'd say it kind of lived up to the hype of everyone, building it up to be what it was. It didn't hit the over, right? As we said, our friend Dan had the under in the Bills game. I think he had a parlay over in the Packers, under Bills, over in this game, which he missed by 2.5. He just needed that field goal, Tyler. But I mean, Brady did enough. 199, two touchdowns. Rushing the ball, Leonard Fournette finished with 63, Ronald Jones 62. Tyler, as a Packers fan, obviously anytime you face Brady, you got to be worried about him. But like I said, they don't have the strongest rush defense. I mean, if you got two guys that can go off at any time, I mean, the average wasn't great. 3.7 from Fournette, 4.8 from Jones. But those guys can just, break one long at any given moment.
Let's us not forget how the Packers lost to the Patriots, the Bucks, in October and November, whenever that was. Rojo just went bonanza.
Yeah.
The dude just went crazy. I think he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards rushing, something like that. But I did say on last week's podcast, if the Bucks defense plays well, nobody is going to beat them, and I still stand by that. The Bucks defense played really well, outstanding. Murphy Bunting, absolutely shadowed all the receivers, jumped routes. Carlton Davis played really well against Michael Thomas. He was practically, not even playing the whole entire game. They pressured Breeze well. He had a lot of forced passes, and Devin White, MVP of the game, hands down, absolutely dominated on defense. An interception and then a fumble recovery, and he was making tackles left and right. He was definitely the reason why we won. We, the Bucks, my team for the rest of the playoffs.
The local team.
Yes, the local team.
So, all right, so you're looking at the defense. Now, Tyler, I'm looking at the schedule. Packers 2020, just to confirm. So, right, I just want to confirm. It was in Tampa Bay the first time they played. Now it's in Lambeau. A little bit different temperature, weather conditions. I mean,
yeah.
Brady, not only does he play his home games in warm weather, I mean, he plays against the Saints in a dome, right? He plays against the Falcons in a dome. He plays against the Panthers that, doesn't get too cold there in North Carolina. Do you think this has any impact on him? Obviously for Brady, right? He's a New England, I wouldn't say he's a New England guy. He's played in New England for the past, 20 years. So I'm not worried about Brady. But these other guys, right? Mike Evans, AB, we talked about Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. Do you think the weather has any impact on their game?
I'm not sure. I really don't think so. I think Brady, it's Brady in the playoffs. It's Brady in December. It's Brady in January. Brady in February. Those are the Bradys that I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of the Brady in the early part of the season. You know, the guy that's in the playoffs right now, that's the guy that you'd never want to face because he is unbeatable almost. You've seen his dominance. I'm just being realistic. Look at the number of wins he has in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
The next guy is Joe Montana at 16. Brady has 33 or 34 wins in the playoffs in his career.
Yeah.
The guy is literally almost unbeatable. But I'm gonna say it again. If the Bucks defense plays like they did against the Saints, nobody is beating them.
Yeah.
Ray Lewis said it best. Defense wins championships. Offense just wins games.
I mean, Devin White, your MVP, 10 tackles, 1 assist, an interception. Yeah, I mean, they played pretty well. I don't know. It's going to be a good game. This is the game, you and I predicted. I think football fans wanted to see Rodgers versus Brady, NFC Championship game. So on the other side of the ball, Tyler, the losing side, Drew Brees, I mean, safe to say Father Time kind of caught up with him. Brady's still fighting him off somehow with that pistachio ice cream, but 134 yards, a touchdown, 3 interceptions for Brees. Kamara, who, really is probably the most prolific player on their team, didn't really have a Kamara-esque game. 18 carries, 85 yards. I mean, he averaged 4.7, which is pretty good, just not good enough. Michael Thomas, 0 receptions. I mean, you're going to need your premier guy to put up some numbers if you're going to walk away with a win. But not only did the Saints lose the game, they also lost their franchise quarterback, Drew Brees.
Allegedly.
Well, I think reports came around that he kind of, I don't know if it was within his camp or just a butler heard him in his hotel saying that he was going to retire. I don't know why I said butler. Someone said butler the other day. Someone said butler the other day. A bellhop. We'll go with that. That's what I meant to say. So, Tyler, say Drew Brees does retire, right? Probably Hall of Fame career.
Easily.
Who do the Saints turn to go under center next year? Obviously, they went with Taysom and when Brees was out hurt, but they did play Jameis Winston, right? He had a nice play. Who do you think they got under center next year in New Orleans?
I mean, honestly, I think what's going to happen is they are going to start Jameis Winston at quarterback. All my gut instinct is just saying that he's the guy that they're going after, and the reason being is because he has the experience of being a starter in the NFL. They're going to give him the shot because he played behind Brees for a year or two. I don't know how many years he's been with the Saints. A year, we'll say.
Yeah.
And, Sean Payton's going to give him the chance, and you know what's going to happen? He ain't going to be eating W's. That's for damn sure. He's going to be eating L's. They're going to take him out. They're going to find a new quarterback. But if I had to put my house on the market, bet the whole house, I'd say Jameis Winston starts week 1 next year.
So, I mean, you ask about the Rams pursuing Deshaun Watson. Do you think the Saints try their hand at bringing him in?
Like I said in our group chat, our fantasy football group chat, I think Deshaun Watson on the Saints would be absolute dynamite. You got Deshaun Watson, Michael Thomas, and Alvin Kamara. Easily the best trio in the NFL right there for all-around stats. You had the best receiver last year, a guy who can catch and run the ball, and then the guy who threw the most passing yards this year. I think if I'm the Saints, I'm going after him. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be, I wouldn't say quite 32 teams that are going to come calling about Deshaun Watson, but definitely in the 20s. I mean, almost every team, even if you have a guy, you hear rumors about 49ers, right? Jerry Rice says, I think Deshaun Watson in a 49ers uniform would bring them Super Bowls. So even though they paid Garoppolo, right, for a short amount of time, he was the highest paid quarterback in history. He's been injured on and off. Obviously didn't play this season. We'll see what happens. Tyler, I've stated it in our group chats and whatnot, but I'll go on the record now and have some video proof. I think he plays for the Carolina Panthers next season. Obviously, he's from the area, went to Clemson. You know, he wants to go home. I think Teddy Bridgewater experiment didn't work out. It's plain to see. Yeah, they didn't really have their full offense, right? McCaffrey was hurt on and off, but I don't know. Whether it's the injury, I wasn't too sold on him when he was in Minnesota. I think that's my guess of where Watson
Quick
goes.
fact
But
check. Quick fact check. Deshaun Watson's from Georgia, and that's why they were kind of linking him to the Falcons, even, because they wanted to see him play for ATL. But no, I could see. Honestly, I could see a plethora. I could see probably 25 teams that Deshaun Watson could easily play for next year. This is one of those things that we're going to monitor. Everybody's going to monitor. This is like MJ being a free agent saying, you know what, fuck the Bulls. I'm done playing for them. Every single team, in the NBA would have gone after him, just like every single team should go after Deshaun Watson. Quarterback is the most important position on the field. This guy is 24 years old. He's younger than us. And, I would go after him. He's proven. He's good. You put wide receivers around him like Deshaun or DeAndre Hopkins. It's just proven chemistry and proven that he can win with those guys. He just has the Texans are known for wasting careers. As Andre Johnson said, J.J. Watt's probably going to be on the record to say it soon. DeAndre Hopkins said it, so there's a reason. Once one player says it, it's like, but when guys start agreeing, it's kind of like the Carolina Panthers owner that, was trying to touch women and whatnot. Once one person said it, they're like, and then a whole shitload of people said it. They're like, oh, yeah, this guy's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, another career wasted there. David Carr, his brother now plays for the Raiders, Derek Carr. Ooh. As a fan of the Las Vegas Raiders, Dan, no longer in Oakland, would you want them to pursue Deshaun Watson?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would want another Raiders jersey in my closet for a guy that doesn't play for the Raiders anymore. Specifically Derek Carr. The reason why the Raiders didn't go as far as they did is because of Derek Carr. Simple as that. He's a quarterback that's going to put up stats, but he's not going to win.
Yeah, I mean, definitely can say he hasn't really proven himself thus far. They brought in Mariota. We'll see what comes of that whole backfield situation last year.
Mariota, he does better statistically than your starting quarterback throughout the whole entire season in like 2 quarters.
It's tough, man. There's probably a lot going on. Derek Carr, pretty biblical guy, talking about the end of the world, right? He probably had a lot on his mind.
I'll end it with this on Derek Carr because I don't want to talk much about this scrub. Don't rock the Kobe sleeve on the left arm if you're not going to play like Kobe. I don't care if you're honoring him or not. Don't ever.
All right, Derek Carr, you heard it here first. Unless you're going to play like Kobe, don't try to look like him.
Yeah, exactly. Unless you're going to bring us championships, I don't want to see it.
Well, so that we wrapped up last week's games, Tyler, might as well get into our predictions, which you went 4-0 for this past weekend. Definitely beating me in the playoffs. I didn't go too much worse. I went 3-1. I think the only game we disagreed on, I picked the Ravens over the Bills.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah, please do.
I'm going with my heart this week. So
oh boy.
I'm either going to go 2-0 or I'm going to go 0-2. I guarantee you that. I'm not splitting anything.
All right. Well, I guess it seems like you have a pretty strong take one side or another, so I'll let you kind of close it out. Let me start by saying the Packers are going to win the football game. They're going to go to the Super Bowl.
Let's start with the Packers-Bucks game.
Yeah. Well, that's the 305, right? Okay. And we're not talking about the Miami area code. 3:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So it's going to be a 2 o'clock game. Lambeau, that wind's going to be whipping. I'm not sure what the weather's looking like. But listen.
No, 24 degrees, they said, with a chance of snow.
Okay. Oh, I would love the snow. I mean, you saw what it did to the Titans, man. Derrick Henry looked like a snowman out there. He rushed for like 40 yards, couldn't do anything. But listen, Tyler, not only are the Packers the number 1 seed, right? They're not getting enough recognition, right? They're underdogs, and everyone counts them out. They're the number 1 seed. Everyone's talking about Brady this. Saints should have got the number 1 seed. People thought the Seahawks were the best team in the NFC for a little while. They lose on Wild Card Weekend, right? No one's giving the Packers credit. Like you said earlier, the defense looked phenomenal. I mean, yes, Cooper Kupp was out. Rams weren't in full health, but they held them to 18 points. Now, will they hold the Bucs to 18 points? Probably not. Like I said, they have a good double-headed rushing attack. Anytime you got Brady under center, you got to be concerned with him. But listen, we got Zadarius Smith. We got Preston Smith. We got Rashawn Gary. We got Kenny Clark, the highest paid nose tackle in NFL history. We got Jair Alexander, who's the number 2 rated cornerback in all the NFL, right? No one's talking about this guy. It's Jalen Ramsey this. It's Stephon Gilmore. No one's talking about him. That's fine. He's a hidden gem, and I love it that way. He's up in Green Bay. He's doing his thing. Adrian Amos having a great season, right, in the safety position. You can just tell, right? He was good in Chicago, but he's playing for a winning football team, and you can tell his play has flourished. On the other side of the ball, dare I say less, Aaron Rodgers, the only quarterback to pass for 45 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in a season. I mean, yes, Brady is the GOAT, probably. If we're talking chips, no one's going to touch him. And I'll go on record saying I don't think there's any quarterback in however long the history of the NFL lasts, however long the planet Earth lasts, I don't think any quarterback is going to have more Super Bowl rings than Tom Brady. Fine. But with that being said, if we're talking about statistics and efficiency, Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT in that aspect. We have Devontae Adams, right? Everyone's like, oh, you said it, Tyler, in the group chat. You predicted him 3 targets, 1 reception for 8 yards. Let me pull this up real quick. Devontae
let's just say the
Adams
first target was
stats.
8 yards, and he caught it.
Against the Rams, 9 receptions for 66 and a touchdown against what people say is the best cornerback in the league. Listen, it doesn't matter. They got Robert Tonyan, snubbed from the Pro Bowl. That's fine. Alan Lazard, you hear Chris Collinsworth say a million times a game, or whoever it was, he does the dirty work. He gets open. That's fine. He's a guy under the radar. MVS can open it up over the top. Like you said, the Bucs defense is going to have to play well for them to win. I just think the Packers offense are going to play better. So I'll leave it at that. And, obviously can't forget Aaron Jones. So, okay, done now. Go ahead.
That was beautiful. Very passionate.
I got really into that, Tyler. I'm glad you appreciate it.
I respect it. Aaron Rodgers. Let me say this.
I'm lightheaded now, by the way. God damn.
Well, take a break. Drink some water. Let Daddy take over. Aaron Rodgers, by far the most efficient season he's ever had. 37 years old, 120 passing rating this season. Absolutely absurd. Only guys in Madden, put up those ratings throughout a season.
Yep.
Played really well. Their defense, Jair Alexander, I think is the best cornerback in the league. I think the Packers defense is playing astounding right now. Like I said, flying to the ball. They're doing great. It's just Tom Brady, like I said, in the playoffs for a new team. The team that he's now playing for, the Tampa Bay Bucs, obviously, are now starting to produce. He's starting to fall into the offense.
Look you in your eyeballs while you're saying this.
Guys are starting to, get used to Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Let's remember what happened back when the Packers played the Bucs. They ran absolutely bananas on them.
Yep.
Rojo
in Tampa Bay.
Now they got Leonard Fournette in the backfield, who maybe resurrected his career with the Bucs. Absolutely running with a force. Rojo takes 20 yards back, runs, like with a passion, like a stallion in a pasture. I think what's going to happen, it's going to be a close game. I know it is. You probably know it is too. Deep down inside, you don't want to say it. I think the Bucs are going to barely beat them on a last-second drive with Tom Brady leading the charge, telling his offensive line no stupid penalties, running the ball down their throat with Rojo and Leonard Fournette, the double-headed dragon. Oh, might I forget, they have probably the 3 best wideouts in the NFL in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and AB. AB's no slub. This guy knows how to win playoff games. This guy is probably going to be one of the top 25 receivers in NFL history, regardless of him sitting out a whole season. Rob Gronkowski, if he doesn't run like a refrigerator, might make a difference.
He always
And then
does, but
and then you got Cameron Brate, who's playing out of his mind, the Harvard grad. If his grades were like he plays on the field, I'd give him an A plus, just like his grades in Harvard. And then you got Tyler Johnson. Nobody's talking about this guy. This guy came in catching, these crazy catches throughout the whole entire season. Get 18 the ball. But I'm gonna go with their defense. I think their defense is playing really, really well, and they got one game more than the Packers throughout the playoffs. And I think that's what's going to make the difference, is that they are just rolling through these playoffs. They're not just winning games, they're rolling through these playoffs. Beating a Saints team by 10 points, that's a lot in a playoff atmosphere. I think they narrowly beat the Packers this week, and I think they're going to be the first team to host the Super Bowl February 4th.
I mean,
let's go.
Tyler, let's see here. You call a 31-23 win over the Washington football team rolling through the playoffs?
This is the playoffs.
I mean, they were Chad Heineken, whatever the fuck his name is.
Taylor Heineke?
Yeah, fucking last second touchdown away from being upset, I guess you can call it that, but
they're playing away. They've won 2 road games in the playoffs. In a row. That's no easy victory right there.
They squeaked by the Washington football team that is a joke, shouldn't have even have made the playoffs. They beat the Saints team by 10 that they've already played twice this season. How much more do you need to scout against a team after playing them twice in a season, Tyler? Don't give me that road game. There's not a full crowd there. The crowd noise has nothing to do with it.
What was the score of the Packers game this week?
32-18.
Okay. And you wouldn't say that they rolled over the Rams?
No.
That's not a rollover. They absolutely demolished the Rams.
I mean, they did in the aspect of,
and the Buccaneers did that to the Washington football team, and they did that against the Saints at home. The Saints at home, Washington at home. They are the road warriors this year. Just don't count Tom Brady out. That's all I'm saying.
You can never count Tom Brady out. I'm just saying, like, a lot of the points you're making aren't valid. I mean, he didn't even have 200 yards passing.
He doesn't need 200-yard passing.
Right, but then, okay, say that as you will, he doesn't have this whole experience this playoffs. Yes, it's Tom Brady. He has immaculate playoff experience, but they haven't even needed him this playoffs. I'm just saying, when he goes out there against the Packers defense,
you're saying that the Bucs are going to be in where they are right now?
No.
Okay. Then
but I mean, if you put Jameis Winston back there with Mike Evans this season, Godwin, Fournette, AB, what are you talking about?
Last season he was with Godwin. He was with Evans.
I'm saying this season. Now, obviously, Godwin's gotten a lot better from the guy on Hard Knocks of his girlfriend saying, Godwin. This guy's a Pro Bowl receiver.
Waller would be the best tight end in the league if he was on the Chiefs. It's all hypothetical. You can't base that statement.
Right. You asked me a question. I was giving you an answer. I think the Bucs still would have made the playoffs with Jameis Winston under center.
All right. Or disagree.
Well, agree to disagree. So that's our predictions for
one more thing before we move on. Tom Brady, the reason why I'm saying they need him is because if you watch the game, Tom Brady was telling the offensive line not to jump. He was telling players what to do that a veteran quarterback that's won playoff games, that knows how to win playoff games, would do. And I think that is the exemplary point of why the Bucs are going to beat the Packers, is just purely based off his leadership.
All right. No, we'll see. Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. The next game, I'll let you kick this one off. Obviously, we got the Bills versus the Chiefs. Mahomes is a question mark. Bills looked pretty good against, didn't do anything too crazy. But with that being said, I predicted the Ravens to win. I thought they were a stronger team. So anytime they come out with a victory from that aspect, it looks good. So who do you got in this one, Tyler?
Oh,
and I think it's got to be under the premise of
Pat playing. He's gonna play.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can't say, "Oh, I'll pick the Chiefs if he plays."
Yeah.
You gotta just no crystal ball. Who do you think is going to win this game?
Well, I think regardless, Pat Mahomes is playing. I think it's just a guarantee. There's no way that this guy's not playing this week.
You
With
looked a
that
little
being,
shaky. I couldn't even stand up straight.
a whole week can fix a lot of things, I think. I mean, it's not like he tore his ACL. Yeah, he looks shaky, but I'm gonna say that Pat Mahomes is playing, just so it's not like, oh, Pat Mahomes isn't playing, whatever. I think the Bills win this game. Reason being, I think their defense is just that much better than all the teams that the Chiefs have played. The Browns, any team in the AFC West at this point. I think their secondary is too strong. Their pass rush is getting to quarterbacks, making a difference. I mean, they took out Lamar Jackson. I mean, nobody wants to be taken out, quote unquote, but they were rushing him the whole entire game. The, the only thing that, like I said before, they need to establish the run game. They need to get other players involved that aren't named Stephon Diggs. I think this week they're gonna do that. They saw that they narrowly beat the Ravens. Really, if it wasn't for that 101-yard interception for a touchdown. But I'm gonna ride with the Bills. I really want to see the Bills in the Super Bowl. I would love to see the Bills versus Bucks in the Super Bowl. Two teams that you would probably never even see ever, in the Super Bowl. And I just think Bills Mafia with the Tampa Bay homers gonna be a party in Tampa.
Yeah. So
and I went with my heart, like I prefaced. I went with my heart.
So to be clear, who are you picking in this game?
The Bills.
Okay, I just want to put that out there. Tyler, craziest pick you've ever had in the history of the No Look podcast. Listen, of course Pat Mahomes is going to play. And might add, the NFL's concussion protocol is a complete joke. If this was a regular season game, he'd be out for a week at least, maybe two. But now it's the AFC Championship game. Miraculously, he's going to be able to put the blocks that are in the shapes and pass the fucking test. It doesn't even matter. He's going to play. Their offense is too prolific. I mean, doesn't matter if they have a running attack, right? They're going to pass the ball he's going to have 300 at least yards passing. I'm going to say 357, 4 touchdowns. It's going to be a bloodbath. Yeah, the Bills have a good defense, but they also played a Ravens offense that, I don't know, dare I say, has a running back at quarterback. Right, they played into their strength. They loaded the box. Lamar wasn't able to get anything going. Tyler, they have Travis Kelce, the Chiefs do, not Darren Waller, who is the best tight end in the NFL. Kelce, he had 100 yards last week. He's going to have 100 yards this week. Tyreek Hill had 100 yards last week. He's going to have 200 yards this week. It's going to go bonkers. They're in Arrowhead Stadium. It's not going to be close. Now, disclosure. Will I be mad if the Bills win? No. Obviously, our friend Morgan, a lot of hometown people, the Bills are what they say is the true upstate New York football team. I won't be too upset, as my camera just cut out, if the Bills win, but I just don't think this one will be close.
Okay. Well, this is probably the first week. I mean, obviously, there's only 2 games, but this is probably the first time ever we've disagreed on every single game. Which is great. I appreciate that. I do hate Kansas City more than any other team in the NFL, besides maybe the Tom Brady Patriots. But
it's gonna be the game that should have been last year. Aaron Rodgers versus Pat Mahomes, and it's gonna be a good one. We'll see. Like you said.
Best of luck.
I hope everyone has fun. So we got over the NFL stuff, Drew Brees, Deshaun Watson, we got all that stuff. I'm just checking my notes real quick. I know we don't really get into NBA too much, but as you being a Brooklyn Nets fan, a lot of news surrounding that organization. Still no Kyrie, which I think now he stepped away from the team, but did I see it's he got suspended for the whole nightclub thing, not wearing a mask?
I didn't even see that. That's breaking news to me.
I think someone told me, which might not be a super reliable source. Yeah, I don't know what article. There's a million articles about him right now. I'm not sure which one's pertaining which.
I know. I know
Anyways,
Kyrie just bought George Floyd's family a house,
yeah,
which goes back to what I said last week on Tyler's 2 minutes. Is actually do something instead of sitting out. I applaud the guy for doing something.
he listened to
Being
you.
I feel like he did. I'm glad that he did that. I think that was a very honorable thing. Um, it's just I wish he would play. If there's a different path for Kyrie, then like Stephen A. Smith said on ESPN, I think he should retire. I don't think you should waste your time, living a double life where you want to be in social reform and also in the NBA. I think you should put all your eggs in one basket, and I think you should pursue it. With that being said, James Harden came in, played point guard for the Nets, and absolutely dominated a triple-double, 34, 12, 10, I think, or whatever the stat line was.
Hmm.
KD with 40. Granted, it was against the Magic, but it's very exciting, especially after seeing all of the draft picks that the Nets swapped and traded and got rid of, and Karis LeVert going and Jared Allen going, trading a lot of great young assets. It was kind of frustrating as a Nets fan because it's reminiscent of the Boston trade where we got rid of a lot of great players, a lot of draft picks that led to Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, insert player that plays for the Celtics here in that trade to get guys that were already out of their prime. But James Harden is one of the best scorers in the NBA. And I'm going to ride with it, especially with Steve Nash and him teaming up with Mike D'Antoni again.
So you just think the offense is going to be too much to stop? You're not really worried about them letting up that many points per
I'm
game?
worried about defense, big time, honestly. We let up a lot of points. We narrowly beat the Magic. Granted, that is the first game that James Harden has played with the Nets, so there's probably not a lot of chemistry. But we did get rid of our best rim protector in Jared Allen. Our defense was already kind of suspect as is. So we're if we don't put up a lot of points, we're not going to the NBA Finals. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. No, you gotta keep the ball in the hoop, as they say. Tyler, a lot of it has been said about James Harden off the court problems. He was partying a lot in Houston. Maybe that'll change now. I think he, might have just been wanting out of the Rockets organization. So hopefully he can focus more on the game of basketball. But as we were pre-show, Tyler, I'm scrolling through Instagram. I happen to follow Billie Eilish. You know who the first name that popped up that also liked the pick that I follow? Mr. Easy Money Sniper. 12 minutes after the pick was posted, so I don't know if the Slim Reaper is shooting his shot at Miss Ocean Eyes, but
I will tell you this.
Hopefully he stays committed.
I think that James Harden going to Brooklyn is a good thing for his mental health. Obviously, the dude was depressed in Houston. He didn't feel like they were listening to him. I think he's going to rejuvenate his career. He's already a great player. I think this allows him to be free like he wants to be, a guy that, nobody's going to tell him what to do. Just score the damn basketball, James. Just do whatever you want. As long as you're scoring triple doubles and, 50-point games. But it's an exciting time to be a Nets fan. It's just the people that are on the paper perform like those people of the past.
Right. No, they definitely got as good of a claim, especially I'd say in the Eastern Conference, to go to the NBA championship.
And might we add, phenomenal weight loss transformation by James Harden, dropping 50 pounds almost. Was he wearing a flak jacket or was he wearing like a bulletproof vest like 50 Cent after getting shot 9 times?
I don't know. From the way the pictures looked, he must have just snorted a whole bottle of Hydroxycut, because homeboy went from fluff to buff in no time. Phenomenal, yeah, transition for him. We got to get that. We got to get that diet plan for him.
For real.
So
I think I'll read it.
James Harden diet plan, 2021. So I think that concludes it, Tyler. We're at the 7 o'clock mark. Pretty much covered all the points. Next week's episode, Tyler,
there's going to be people crying.
Will be interesting, to say the least. Packers win or lose, I'm going to come in here feeling some type of way. So stay tuned for that. You think we'll be back at 7 normal time next week?
Yeah, we'll be back at 7 next week.
Okay, so back at 7 p.m. EST next week, normal time. We had a change in the schedule this week, but
either way, Austin's going to be hungover. Win or lose.
Yeah, I don't. I may not
Tequila
have.
sodas what Tequila sodas were the victim last time the Packers played in the NFC Championship, and another victim was this gold chain around my neck.
We got it fixed, God damn it! It's still fine. No casualties here. It's just a little scratch. But yeah, it'll be interesting for sure. With that being said, I'm back in an hour. Tyler's back with me, right? We got that.
I won't be. I'm sorry.
God damn it! We were supposed to have fucking PJ 2-on-2 matchups. All right, we'll have to call up.
Hey, I wasn't good enough to be on the 2-on-2 scramble last night, so you guys definitely got ahead.
Yeah, we'll have to call up the reserves. But all right, I'm back at 8. We got 2-on-2, 4-man scramble.
What about Thursday?
What's that? Yeah, we could run it back Thursday, but we have
Thursday?
Yeah, it's Thursday. Never know when you come in Saying Games TV. Either way, it's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be some good content. But with that being said, I'll be back at 8. You don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here until 8. Weezy out.
Love you.